Welcome back. News Talk 830 WEEU, online 830WEEU.com. Folks, big thanks to Bob McCool for coming in early today, moving up our Football Friday 8 a.m. hour. Started at 7:30 so we could get everything wrapped up and move on to some Philadelphia Phillies baseball. Game 3 of the NLCS. It moves to Citizens Bank Park, and what a scene that is going to be this weekend. And the man calling all the action on the Phillies radio network, Scott Franzke, joins us now. Good morning, Scott. How are you?
I'm great. How are you, Mike?
I'm doing well, man. And I guess that was a much shorter road trip than what you guys went out on last time.
It was a little quicker. It was. That last one was pretty ridiculous how long that got, but also a lot of fun.
And I think it really did a lot for the team. They really seemed like they came off that road trip together and close. And, man, that has turned into what has just been an awesome 3 weeks of baseball here for Phillies fans. We obviously want to get into the NLCS, but I do want to go back a week ago, last Friday. Scott, I was in the stadium. It was rocking. It was amazing. What was that like from your vantage point?
The same. Obviously we were, we'd seen it before years ago, but I think there was something about it on Friday that just seemed, to me, it seemed a lot like 2007, when they clinched on the last day, and just the start to finish, energy from the crowd was pretty unbelievable. And, you could just sense that the sense of relief and waiting was over, and finally having, playoff baseball back. It blew away every expectation, I think, that anybody, certainly anybody surrounding the ball club, it blew away any expectation they might have had.
I thought there was a pretty cool parallel. They had Shane Victorino throw out the first pitch on Friday, and I was there in 2008 for that Brewers game when, of course, Brett Myers gets walked by CC, the crowd's going wild, and Victorino hits the grand slam, and the place just goes ballistic, and it was the exact same vibe. I think it might actually have been a little louder. Tell us about that Rhys Hoskins home run. That's really when the place just exploded.
Yeah, obviously that was a huge momentum swing, and just kind of a sense of relief in opening up obviously they had a slim lead. You had Strider on the mound. You hadn't hit him at all. And I think a lot of people were worried about that fact, how deep is Strider going to go in the game? And, you didn't want to miss that opportunity, and Strider had completely dominated Rhys. And just, obviously, I think it was that sense of relief for everybody. It was obviously a jubilant feeling, but there was also a lot of relief there, and I think there was a lot of release there from the crowd.
Yes.
That they got to sort of sit back and really kind of feel the party atmosphere and not worry so much.
And I think from a fan standpoint, too, obviously Rhys took a lot of criticism after the play he failed to make in Atlanta. And I think we all like Rhys, and we all, we think he's a great guy. We just wanted to make that play. And I think there was a lot of people who were just happy for him, too, that he got to have that moment there in that ballpark.
Yeah, I think that's for sure. I know I was one of them.
Yeah.
I like Rhys a lot, and Rhys has been so much more than just a player on the field for our organization. He's been a guy in the community. He's been the voice of the team for many, many years. He's been the stand-up guy who's, front-facing, good days and bad. He's the guy the media goes to. He's just such a great young man, and you just, you appreciate. I know I can appreciate the things he's been through in his life, and I've seen him firsthand how hard he works. It's not, he has limitations. He knows that, but he doesn't, shy away from that. He doesn't run from that. He continues to try to work on those things and to try to get better. I think a lot of people see that, appreciate that, and can embrace that.
Absolutely. Obviously, the weekend went spectacular last weekend. They move on to the NLCS, take game 1 in San Diego. Game 2 got off to a fantastic start. Unfortunately, didn't end the way everybody wanted it to, unless, of course, you're wearing brown and yellow. Then I guess you were actually pretty happy. But for the Phillies fans, kind of a disappointing game 2. Aaron Nola went out there, looked sharp early. Is there any reason to be worried about what went on with Aaron Nola yesterday, or is that just one of those days?
Well, I think in a lot of respects, it's probably one of those days. But you never know. The Padres are a good team. I think it's easy to forget that sometimes, that the other club is experiencing the same thing we're experiencing.
Yep.
Right. One of the last teams in, 89 wins is all. Got totally dominated during the regular season by a divisional foe. They end up beating that foe in the playoffs. They beat 2 different teams that won 100 games. Nobody expected them to be where they're at, and here they are. And so I think it's good to remember that this is a really good ball club. I would fully expect Aaron Nola to bounce back. I thought his command was pretty bad. He didn't really say that, but to me, everything was up. Mm-hmm. And sometimes that can be you're tired. Sometimes that can be your mechanics are a little bit off. Sometimes your mechanics are off because you're tired. But he won't have extra rest this next time around. So he'll have to go on his regular turn. There's no more off days now. It's 5 straight days, 5 straight games to the finish line. So, we'll see. We'll see what happens.
And he is scheduled to pitch, I think, game 6, if it would go that far, correct?
Yeah, that's where it would go. Wheeler would go 5, mm-hmm. Nola 6, and presumably Suarez 7th. But as, Rob Thompson mentioned yesterday, if you get to game 7, you're all in.
Yeah.
There's nobody off the table except, in that case, probably only your game 6 starter, Aaron Nola.
You mentioned Ranger Suarez. He'll get the ball this evening. Only went 3.1 against the Braves in his only start here so far in the postseason, but he really battled. So even though he didn't have the command that he obviously would have liked that day, he really battled, and that I think is encouraging coming into this start tonight.
Yeah, I would expect him to be better this time. Maybe the nerves settled a little bit. I think he was pretty amped up and wasn't making his pitches, and got behind. Now, he made some big pitches, like you said, he battled. He made some really big pitches when he had to. Uh-huh. But he had to expend a lot of energy doing it and use up a lot of pitches getting to that point. So, there's no doubt they could use a little longer outing from Ranger tonight. They could use, certainly a better outing from Ranger tonight. I still think this team wins and loses based on its offense. I'm not saying they have to score 9. That's asking a lot. But I think if you're scoring, if it looks like you're going to score 4, 5, 6 runs, you're probably, with the pitchers they're going to choose, generally you're not going to give up that many if your starter's decent. And then you're going to your big guns in the bullpen. So, we'll see. I still think this team was built to hit. They're supposed to hit. And if they don't hit, they're probably not going to win.
Well, a guy that's been hitting and just been ridiculous ever since Game 2 of this postseason is Bryce Harper. He came back from the IL probably a little bit earlier than maybe he was ready, wanted to get back in the lineup. Is it just that he's finally gotten healthy and gotten his timing back? Is that why we're seeing the MVP Bryce Harper that we saw before the injury and that we saw last year?
Timing's probably part of it. I don't think health. I think his health was fine. I think timing certainly is part of it, but I think it's also approach. I think he's letting the ball get a little deeper. I think he's thinking more about left center field. And I think when he does that, he's better. He's much better. I'll tell you, he's also kind of, I think, maybe a little more relaxed right now at the plate. You said it turned around in Game 2. I think it turned around in Game 1, his last at bat, when he drew a walk in the 9th inning. And I've said this to a few different folks. You get the bloop base hit, you're down 2, he's the tying run. I think it's really easy for a player of his caliber to think home run, I'm going to tie this game. I'm going to be the hero right here and tie this game. And he didn't. He drew a walk. He drew a walk and he passed the baton because they didn't come anywhere near him. no question Helsley was starting to falter, but I think it was important for Bryce not to go out of the zone and to just be a member of the team right there and pass the baton and let the guys behind him drive him in. And for me, that at bat spoke volumes about where he was at that point, where his mind was at that point. And I think we've just seen a continuation of that. He is swinging at strikes. He's not chasing. He's not trying to go out of the zone to be somebody he's not or to do something he can't do. He's doing what is best for Bryce, and that is keep it in the strike zone. And if it's in the zone, he's generally been ready to attack it.
And if it's best for Bryce, chances are it's best for the Philadelphia Phillies.
Yeah, exactly. Exactly. I mean, I contend that Bryce Harper, as one of the guys, is still the man. I mean, he is so much better than just about every player on the field most days that he goes to the field, right?
Mm-hmm.
I don't care who you play. There's not many players in baseball that are better than him. And so I think when you have that, you just have to remember to keep that mindset that, stay within yourself, do what you do, and things are going to work out.
And man, when he gets it rolling, boy, do they work out. 419 he's hitting so far here in the playoffs. 7 straight games of extra base hits. That's really the probably most remarkable thing he's got going right now.
Yeah. I mean, look, like I said, he's a great player. And, we haven't even really seen, I don't think, Bryce's, clutch moment yet. I mean, he had the home run in Game 2 in St. Louis. That's technically a game-winning homer because they led the rest of the way, right?
Yep.
But we haven't really seen that big moment where the game's on the line and maybe he comes through, and we're starting to see it from each different. Each player's kind of had his moment in the sun. You look outside of Harper, the averages are pretty awful.
Yeah.
Whether it's Schwarber or Hoskins, Castellanos, Bohm, but they've all had a big hit here and there. And I think that's what happens sometimes in the playoffs. You just, maybe you're not hitting the ball overall, but you get one big hit that drives in a couple of runs and it helps win you a game. And that's your contribution along the way. But they're going to need more than Harper. I mean, to get through this series, they've got a real black hole right now behind Harper. I mean, Castellanos has hit the skids again. I know he had a hit the other day, but it was, kind of a fluky thing. And Bohm had a hit the other day, and that's great, but he's really been struggling. You have to go back to September to find the last time he had a multi-hit game. So they're going to need some production from somewhere other than Bryce Harper. There's no question about it.
And no time to start it like the present. Scott, we'll let you go. We'll let you get ready for tonight. Going to be another wild scene. I'm going Sunday. I cannot wait. I'm so fired up bringing my daughter. Did your kids enjoy? I know you threw them out to St. Louis, and I'm sure they came with you on the road to Atlanta and maybe even San Diego. Are they having a great time watching these playoffs?
Yeah, they did make the St. Louis trip. That's all they've made so far.
Okay.
We've talked about whether they're going to restart that and join me out there somewhere. But they've been to all the home games. They went to all the home games against Atlanta, and they'll be there this weekend. And yeah, they're having a blast. It's a lot of fun. We have forgotten just how long the playoffs can be.
Yes.
And in one sense, they go by quickly, but in another sense, it wears you down a little bit, the travel and everything else. So it's an interesting month for them to sort of see what it's all about, but I'll take it. I'll take it for sure.
You got plenty of time to rest coming up here in the months ahead.
Yeah,
Scott.
no doubt.
Yeah.
No doubt.
Hey, one more thing. That Kyle Schwarber home run the other day, just from you being there in person and seeing that ballpark, for those of us who haven't been there, just how far away is that upper deck to where that ball?
Yeah, it's one of those spots in a ballpark you just figure you're never going to see a ball hit too. And according to the Padres people, they've never seen one hit up there. Not even, they don't even see guys hit them up there in batting practice. It was stunning, quite frankly. Greg Murphy and I we weren't on the air. We were in the back of the booth, and both of us looked at each other before the at bat, and we had both predicted that he would go deep, right in that at bat. We both said it almost simultaneously. And then sure enough, he did. And, so we'll take credit for that.
There you go. You and Wawa because of Schwarber Fest.
Yeah, exactly.
You guys all get the credit. Hey, Scott, thank you so much for taking some time. I really appreciate it. We can't wait for this
pleasure.
weekend. It's going to be, just like you said, a blast. I'm super pumped for Sunday, bringing my daughter down. She's never been to a playoff game before, so it's going to be, it's just going to be an amazing weekend all around. And I can't wait to hopefully see the Phils take the next step. And just hard to believe the conversations that you and I were having at the end of the regular season, that this has transformed into where we are now. It's been a magical ride.
Yeah, it's been a lot of fun. Super fortunate to be a part of it, and let's get out there, let's get loud this weekend, and see if the boys can bring it home.
Sounds good, Scott. Hopefully, we have one more conversation in us about another series that could take place. I'm not even going to say it out loud.
Let's do it. Let's do it.
All right, Scott Franzke, the radio voice of the Philadelphia Phillies. We appreciate it so much. Have a great weekend. Enjoy it, and we'll talk to you soon.
All right, thanks. See you, Mike.
There you go, Scott Franzke.